Leah then begins to do the acupuncture treatment on Oscar. As she's doing the treatment, she starts thinking about how, after all this suffering, she's afraid it will take Oscar a long time to recuperate. After 10 minutes have passed, Leah finishes the acupuncture treatment and tosses all of the needles into a jar. She also states to William to get some water and a towel. She adds that Oscar might have to throw up in a minute. After a while, Oscar wakes up and vomits out his last meal. As he's throwing up, Leah tells Oscar that he's doing great. She adds that he'll feel much better once he's done throwing up. Once he's done, Leah wipes Oscar's face with a towel. She also asks him how is he feeling now and if he's feeling better. Oscar thanks Leah and mentions to her that he feels much better now. Meanwhile, William starts thinking about how Leah is even better at taking care of kids than the nanny at home. He also realizes that Oscar seems to rely on Leah so much. William then questions Leah about where is she living right now. This question catches Leah off guard. She also states to William that she hasn't had the time to rent a house yet, so she'll be taking the kids to stay in a hotel tonight. Upon hearing this statement, Oscar asks Leah about why doesn't she come live at his house. He adds that there's plenty of room. Leah tells Oscar that she needs to have her own home. She adds that when they get the chance, she will take her kids over to visit him. However, William reassures Leah that there's no need to wait for a chance. He also questions her about if she could help him take care of Oscar and be his nutritionist for the time being. This question makes Leah hesitate. Meanwhile, Matthew asks William if this means that they can live in his house and play with Oscar every day. William mentions to Matthew, of course, and that Oscar will be happy too. Upon hearing this statement, Matthew requests his mother to say yes. He adds that they don't have a place to live now anyway. However, Scarlett interrupts Matthew and shouts out in disagreement to this plan. She also starts thinking about how she hasn't even lived in William's house. She further wonders who is Leah to do that. Oscar then shouts at his father and tells him to make Scarlett go away. He adds that she fed him some seafood and rice porridge, which is what made him so sick. Upon hearing this statement, William gets furious at Scarlett and questions her about if she fed their son seafood porridge. He also asks her if she doesn't know that Oscar's allergic to seafood. Scarlett pretends to be calm and replies, "I wasn't even there this afternoon. How could I have fed him porridge? Kids love to lie. He only said that because he wants to drive me away." Oscar shouts at Scarlett and states to her that he's not the one lying. She's the one who's lying. Upon hearing this statement, William asks Oscar what did he tell him before. He adds that he needs to use the facts and not yell. Leah tells William that Oscar is still just a kid. She also questions him about why is he so mean to him. Leah further mentions to William that besides, Oscar is the one who ended up suffering from all this. If he wants the facts, he should investigate this matter right away. Meanwhile, Matthew starts thinking about how Oscar must be innocent. He also decides to help him while taking out his laptop. As Matthew starts to do something on his laptop, Rosa asks him what is he doing. Upon hearing this question, Matthew covers his sister's mouth and tells her to be quiet. He adds that he's gathering evidence for Oscar. William then states to one of his employees to contact the dean and check the surveillance footage. Scarlett also questions William about if he doesn't believe her. She further asks him about why would she lie to him. Suddenly, Matthew shouts at Scarlett while turning the laptop towards William and says, "You are a liar! Oscar was right. Mr. Lee, this is the surveillance footage from this afternoon. I found it for you." Upon hearing this statement, William questions Matthew about how did he manage to get a hold of that. He also takes a closer look at the technique that Matthew used and realizes that it's the same technique that the world's top hacker, Burning Heart, likes to use. William further starts thinking about how he can't believe that Burning Heart would turn out to be a 5-year-old kid, and believes that with the right training, Matthew will have a great future ahead of him. William then asks Scarlett about what does she have to say for herself now. He adds that he never thought she would be so cruel as to hurt her own child. Upon hearing this question, Scarlett shouts at Leah and states to her that she hates her, and she even used her own child to try to frame her. Scarlett adds that she thinks it was Leah who hurt Oscar and told Matthew to slander her on purpose. As Matthew continues to hold the laptop, he tells Scarlett that she's very rude, but even so, she shouldn't doubt his ability. He adds that with his skills, investigating some surveillance footage is hardly a big deal. William also snaps his fingers to call the guards and mentions to them to drive Scarlett home. He adds that from now, she is not allowed to get close to Oscar without his permission. The guards agree with William and start to take Scarlett away. As she's being taken away, Scarlett shouts at William and requests him to let her explain herself. She adds that she didn't know it was seafood porridge and tries to blame the nanny this time. Once the guards take away Scarlett, Leah looks over at William and notices that he looks dismayed. William then clears his throat and states to Leah that as she can see, Oscar needs someone to look after him. He also requests and hopes that she will agree to take care of Oscar for a while. Leah further looks at the children and realizes that they are eager for a response. After noticing the children's eagerness, she decides to agree to William's request to take care of Oscar. We then transition to the next scene where we see what's happening at the Mo residence. Back at the Mo residence, Scarlett's mother questions Scarlett about what happened. She also confirms with her about if she went to the hospital to visit Oscar. Scarlett tells her mother that Leah is back and she met William and Oscar. Upon hearing this statement, Scarlett's mother grabs Scarlett's hands and reassures Scarlett that there's nothing to be afraid of. She adds that since they were able to drive her away once before, they can do it again. We then switch to the next scene where we learn that it's the next day and see Leah getting out of the shower. As she's drying her hair with a towel, she starts to wonder about if she should make some breakfast for Oscar. Suddenly, Leah notices William coming downstairs and wishes him a good morning. William wishes Leah good morning back. He also points at her clothing to indicate that something is wrong with them. Upon noticing this action, Leah becomes confused and starts to wonder about what's wrong with her clothes. She then looks down at her clothes and realizes that they're transparent. Once Leah realizes this, she quickly turns away from William and covers her body with her hands. She also starts to feel embarrassed and starts thinking about how she must be losing her mind. She also wonders about how could she have forgotten to dry her hair after taking a shower. Leah further runs upstairs in embarrassment. Meanwhile, William starts thinking about how Leah is kind of funny. Once Leah is upstairs, she closes the door behind her. She also starts to wonder about if William thinks that she's frivolous. She further starts thinking about how she didn't mean to do that. All of a sudden, Oscar enters the room while rubbing his eyes and calls Leah his mother. Upon Leah noticing Oscar, she mentions to Oscar that she will take him downstairs for breakfast after he finishes washing up. Oscar agrees with Leah. Oscar then goes to the bathroom and squeezes some toothpaste onto his toothbrush. He also states to Leah that he can do this himself. He adds that she should go check on Rosa and Matthew. Upon hearing this statement, Leah pats Oscar on the head and tells him that he's a good boy. She adds that he should take his time and call her if he needs anything. Oscar agrees with Leah. Leah then enters her children's room and asks them both if they're awake. Upon hearing this question, Matthew states to his mother that they woke up early, so they already finished washing up. He adds that he told Rosa to get up early and practice her singing. As her children rush over to her, Leah praises them and mentions to them that they should go downstairs and have some breakfast together. Leah also starts thinking about how her two babies are so well behaved. She further starts thinking about how maybe it was the right choice to let them stay here for a while, and believes that they should be safe from Crystal here. We then move to the next scene where we see Oscar in the small study room. As he's drawing something on a piece of paper, he starts thinking about how he needs to think of a way to get Leah to stay here all the time. We further get a glimpse of what Oscar is drawing and find out that he's actually drawing Leah. Suddenly, Leah notices Oscar's drawing and questions him about if he drew this. She adds that it's so good. Leah further believes that the drawing is incredible and can hardly believe that the drawing is a work of a 5-year-old boy. Oscar then states to Leah that he just drew it randomly. He adds that she shouldn't tell his father since he doesn't like him drawing. Upon hearing this statement, Leah asks him why not. She adds that he's so good at drawing. Leah further questions Oscar about shouldn't his father be happy to have such a talented son. As Oscar is sad and upset, he replies, "Dad said that as the heir of the Lee family, I'm not allowed to study drawing, and that bad woman said all my drawings are garbage." Upon hearing this statement, Leah asks Oscar if he's referring to his mother Scarlett as the bad woman. She also starts to wonder about how could Scarlett say that. Leah further believes that Oscar is obviously extremely talented. Leah then pats Oscar on the head and reassures him not to worry. She adds that she will talk to his dad. Leah further tells Oscar that if he really wants to study drawing, then she will help him. Upon hearing this statement, Oscar agrees with Leah and thanks her. We then transition to the next scene where we learn that it's nighttime now. In the living room, Leah notices William and calls out to him. She adds that they need to talk. Leah further mentions to William that Oscar drew this picture and requests him to take a look at it. William agrees to Leah's request and takes a look at the drawing. As he's staring at it, he questions Leah about if Oscar said he wants to draw again. He adds that he remembers talking to Oscar very carefully about this. Upon hearing this statement, Leah asks William if he doesn't want Oscar to study drawing. He also questions him about why not, and if he has any idea how talented he is. William crumples the drawing with his hand and mentions to Leah that Oscar is the Lee family's only heir, so he can't become a drawer or a painter. Upon hearing this statement, Leah quickly rushes over to William and questions him about what is he doing. She also asks him about how can he just destroy Oscar's work so casually like that. William then states to Leah that he hired her to take care of Oscar, but he really doesn't want her interfering in their family affairs. Meanwhile, Oscar starts to head downstairs to the living room. As he's heading downstairs, he wonders how their discussion is going. He also wonders if his dad will let Leah teach him how to draw. Suddenly, Oscar notices both of them talking. William then tells Leah that as soon as Oscar is fully recovered, he will have him study various courses, but that will not include drawing. Upon hearing this statement, Oscar gets angry and asks his father about why won't he agree. He adds that Leah promised she'd teach him to draw. William questions Oscar back about if that is how he talks to his father. He also asks him about where are his manners. However, Oscar ignores his father and mentions to him that he hates him. He adds that he won't let him do anything and that he hates him the most. Oscar further starts to stomp back upstairs to his room. As he's crying and running away, Oscar wonders why Leah can't be his mom. He also believes that if he had a mom, she wouldn't let his dad bully him like this. Once Oscar is upstairs, he slams the room door shut. Meanwhile, William and Leah look at each other and are dismayed by Oscar's behavior. Leah then explains to William that drawing won't actually take up too much of Oscar's time. She adds that as a hobby, it can help him develop his imagination and spatial ability. However, William interrupts Leah and states to her to come to his study. He adds that they need to talk. Upon hearing this statement, Leah wonders if William agrees. Once they are in the study room, William tells Leah that he read her file. He adds that he knows that she majored in design. William further mentions to her that he'd like her to draw a picture for him randomly. Leah asks William that if she can draw it to his satisfaction, will he let her teach Oscar to draw. William states to Leah that she can say that. He also sits down and starts thinking about how he wants to see just how well Leah can do this, and if it's worth his investment. Leah then starts to draw as William requested of her. After an hour, Leah finishes drawing and puts it down. She also hands the drawing to William and tells him that she's done. William grabs the drawing from Leah and starts to stare at it. As he's looking at it, he realizes that Leah drew him and becomes surprised. He also starts thinking about how Leah has solid drawing skills and becomes impressed. Leah then questions William about what does he think. She also asks him if she's good enough to teach Oscar. Upon hearing this question, William mentions to Leah that she can be his drawing teacher, but he has a request. Meanwhile, Leah starts thinking about how when she looks at William closely, his appearance is truly impeccable. William then states to Leah that in 2 months, Oscar must get at least a top 10 ranking in the Talent Art Festival. If he doesn't, then he must stop drawing. Leah agrees with William and asks him why does he want Oscar to get such a high ranking at such a young age. She adds that he still has plenty of time. As William gets up, he questions Leah about how does she think he, as the Lai family's heir, managed to reach the position that everyone looks up to today. Upon hearing this question, Leah starts thinking about how, since the Lai family is the richest and most powerful family there is, the Lai family heir must have to work harder than anyone can imagine. She also believes that William is right. Leah then agrees to William's request and tells him that if Oscar ends up winning an award, then he can no longer arbitrarily control his hobbies. William agrees with Leah and states to her that he will keep his promise. He also wonders just how hard will Leah try on behalf of someone else's child. William further decides that this is also the first lesson that he will teach Oscar. We then transition to the next scene where we see that it's the next day. We also see Leah and Oscar walking together at the mall. Leah then asks Oscar if he likes art exhibitions. She adds that she'll take him to see some other people's drawings. Oscar agrees with Leah. Meanwhile, Scarlett's mother notices Leah and questions Scarlett if that is her. Scarlett agrees with her mother and mentions to her that she can't believe that Leah's allowed to take Oscar out alone. She adds that William never lets her do that. Upon hearing this statement, Scarlett's mother grabs Scarlett's hand and starts walking towards Leah. She also states to Scarlett that she's Oscar's real mother. She further asks Scarlett if Leah is trying to take her place and get close to William. Scarlett's mother then states to Scarlett that there's no way. Meanwhile, we switch back to Leah and Oscar, where we see that Leah is purchasing 2 tickets to the art exhibition for her and Oscar. Suddenly, Scarlett's mother calls out to Leah by screaming at her and questions her about what is she doing here with Scarlett's child. Everyone in the mall hears this scream, and they start to wonder about what's going on. They also wonder if someone is trying to kidnap the child. Some other people believe that judging by how they're dressed, they guess that it must be some kind of grudge-related drama between rich families. Meanwhile, Leah turns around and starts thinking about how it's hard to avoid enemies. She's aware that she wasn't even looking for them, yet here they are, coming after her. Oscar also starts to feel scared, since the people that he believes are bad are here again. Leah then looks at Oscar and notices that he's scared. She further replies, "You scared the child. I don't want to have any conflict with you here in front of him. If there's something you want to talk to me about, let's talk about it another day. Oscar, don't be afraid. Let's go in and look at the exhibition." Upon hearing this statement, Oscar agrees with Leah. All of a sudden, Scarlett's mother puts her hand on Leah's shoulder. She also says, "Leah, I didn't believe Scarlett when she said that you're living in Lee's house and trying to hook up with her husband. But now you're here shopping around with your sister's kid. What on earth do you want?" This statement causes an audience to gather around them. The audience then start to wonder about how could Leah seduce her sister's husband since she looks decent enough. They also believe that she's not just seducing the husband, but she also snatched their child. The audience further believe that this is outrageous and tell Leah to give Scarlett back her kid. Upon hearing these statements, Scarlett puts Oscar down and mentions to him to wait for her. She adds that she'll take him to see the exhibition as soon as she has dealt with this. Oscar agrees with Leah and states to her that they're the ones who are bad people. He adds that she should go for it. Leah then says to Scarlett's mother, "Auntie, speaking of third parties, it was you who interfered in my parents' marriage back then, so how dare you accuse me now? What's more, as for why I'm living in the Lie family's home, Scarlett is perfectly aware of the reason." Upon hearing this statement, Scarlett states to Leah that this is nonsense. She adds that Oscar is the Lee family's heir, and she is Oscar's mother. Scarlett further tells Leah that she doesn't agree with her living in the Lee family's home. Scarlett then approaches Oscar and mentions to him to come here to her. She adds that Leah will hurt him by taking him out alone like that. Scarlett further states to Oscar that Leah is a bad woman. However, Oscar disagrees with Scarlett and shouts out that he doesn't want a mother who poisoned him. This statement surprises the audience, and they start to wonder about if Scarlett is really Oscar's mother. They also notice that the child is definitely closer to Leah. Meanwhile, Leah starts thinking about how even though she didn't tell Oscar to say that, it's not a good thing for him to contradict his mother in public. She also decides that she can't let everyone focus their attention on Oscar. Leah then questions Scarlett's mother about how has her life with the Mo family been these past 5 years with the inheritance her mother left behind. Scarlett's mother asks Leah about what inheritance. She adds that she wouldn't take her stuff and to stop talking nonsense. Scarlett's mother also wonders how could Leah know what even Jacob doesn't know. Leah then chuckles upon hearing this statement and states to Scarlett's mother that since she dared to say that, she now has proof. She adds that one day she will settle all these scores with her, one by one. This statement makes Scarlett's mother angry. She also raises her hand to slap Leah and calls out to her, She further tells Leah that she's her auntie and asks her how could she talk to her like that. She adds that today she'll teach her a lesson on behalf of her father. However, Leah grabs her aunt's hand to stop her from slapping her. She also mentions to her that Grandpa said that she always likes to compete with her mother when she was a child. She further questions Scarlett's mother about if she thinks she'd win after she snatched Jacob from her mother. Upon hearing this statement, Scarlett jumps in between the ladies and responds, "How could you talk about Dad like that? You got pregnant out of wedlock and were away from home all those years. Dad looked for you for a long time. In the end, he had no choice but to announce your death. You have no conscience at all." Leah states to the ladies that the two of them are truly disgusting. She also tells Scarlett that her surname is Song, not Mo. She further questions her about how could she call Jacob her father, and mentions that it's like mother like daughter. Scarlett ignores Leah and shouts out for help. As she's holding her mother's hand, she also yells out that Leah pushed her mother in public. The mall security guard hears this and rushes over to Scarlett. He also asks her about what's the matter. Scarlett quickly points towards Leah and shouts at the mall security guard to arrest Leah and throw her out. Upon hearing this statement, the security guard confirms with Scarlett if this is really called for. Scarlett mentions to the mall security guard that her father is the chairman of the Mo group, and he has shares in his group. She adds that if he doesn't listen to her, then he will lose his job. Suddenly, William approaches the ladies and asks Scarlett, since when did the Lai family's shopping mall become someone else's? Oscar also calls out to his father once he notices him. He also starts thinking about how their savior is here, and believes that his father can definitely save Leah. William then grabs Oscar and starts thinking about something. He also looks at Scarlett right in the eyes and questions her about if she's really qualified to be a mother since she's making a scene like this in front of her son. Upon hearing this question, Scarlett explains to William that Leah was the one who was talking nonsense first.
Please make sure to subscribe. Special thanks to all of my Patreon members. Why not watch another manhwa recap on my channel by clicking on this video right here?